This is SAAB Talk Live, the webcast for people who own SAABs, love SAABs, and just care about keeping these cars on the road. Thanks for joining us. My name is Lee Kelso. Glad you joined us here on the program. We're live every Tuesday at 8 o'clock, unless we have a special circumstance like we do today. Our guest is joining us from Sweden, and because of the time difference, I brought Isak Edman on, and we're recording this segment. Isak, good to see you.
Good to see you, Lee. Hello.
Thank you. Okay, so I want to set the stage here. I found you because I saw a picture of this car on a Facebook group and thought, wow, that is a beautiful SAAB 900. So I reached out to find out more about you and discovered that not only do you own such an interesting car, you work for this company, DO 88, that makes a number of products to help our cars breathe better and run cooler. So we're going to talk about both things on the program today as we learn more about your car and the company. Now, let's talk about the name of the company. I'm calling it DO 88. What's the right way to pronounce that?
That's pretty much right. DO 88, do we say here? So it's okay.
DO 88. Okay, good. Mm-hmm. Lots of people seem a little confused about that. So here you are. You're with us from Sweden today. This is where your company is headquartered. I'm not going to try the name of this town. Tell us about that.
Nykvarn, Sweden. Yeah, that's correct.
So you're just right outside of Stockholm. And yeah. So SAABs in their natural environment, that's what you get to enjoy. And this car, as I said, is just a knockout. This shot is, you had the car over in Norway, I believe, right?
That's correct. I was there with my fiance last summer. I believe this is on top of some mountain, and yeah, it was a great trip. Actually, we slept in the car, pushing the back seats down, laying out the mattress, and then we slept in the car. So it was quite
nice. Perfect. Boy, that's just great. And so we're going to talk a little bit later about SAABs in Sweden, and for those of us here in the United States, I think you're going to find a few of those things to be a little bit of a surprise. I want to get under the hood of your car if we can. Boy, this is just a knockout. Tell me about all the hoses that we're seeing here. These are products of your company, right?
That's correct, yeah. We have these model-adapted hoses. We have been doing so for 7 or 8 years now. And the idea is to have a replacement kit for the OEM hoses. So something that is a bit more, it withstands burst pressure better, also high quality silicone. And yeah, the idea is that you change them once and never look at them again. Unless you like the looks, of course.
And they do look great. So you saw the blue. They also come in red, and I have them in my car in black. And I feel like people are going to be wondering, is there some kind of a quid pro quo here? No, there's not. I put those hoses on my car long before you and I met, and I knew anything about doing this segment. And they do fit very well. And so not only the hoses, the point I like to make with people is they're a little expensive, but you put a lot of time and effort into your car, and the last thing you want is to be on the road, blow a holes, have an overheating situation, and put your head gasket at risk. So in my mind, with a 30-year-old car, well worth the dollars. So these are, you said, intended not only to look better, as they do in your engine bay here. You've done a lot of work on this car. Tell us what else you've done.
What you can see under the hood is, obviously, I've sandblasted and painted the intake manifold and also a few other bits, just to give it a fresher look. Also visible is the front mount intercooler and the aluminum radiator, which are products that we carry. And these were actually developed on this very car a few years back.
So your SAAB is the development mule for the company, huh?
Correct. Yeah, it happened to be that way. It was not the purpose for me buying it, but as I had this car in fairly good condition and we were about to do this development, it came in handy. So that's the story.
You mentioned the intercooler, and this is one of your leading products. This is an intercooler for a 9.3, I believe. Yeah, it's a 9.3. What's the purpose of these intercoolers? What's the benefit I get by adding one of these to my car?
The benefit is to get colder and also more air into the intake manifold and from there into the combustion chamber. You see, you want the air to be as cold as possible, but also as much of it as possible. So just making an intercooler that cools really well, that's quite easy. Just make a dense core and it will cool perfectly. But that will have negative effect on the airflow and the mass reached the engine. So it's a compromise, and you have to be able to combine those two elements to get an intercooler that works as intended.
So when I add your intercooler to my car, what's the difference I feel in drivability or performance?
The improvement in airflow will give you better throttle response. The car will feel more eager. Also, as the intake air temperature drops, uh, the ECU management system will not back off on the ignition timing as much, meaning that you have yeah, an engine that produces more horsepower, quite frankly.
Sure.
So yeah, and it's also a matter of fact that you aren't as much tuning the car, but optimizing the parts that makes you tune further. So it's more of a case that where um, give yourself better opportunity to further tune your car, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I found an example of that, Isaac, out on the internet. A young man who runs a YouTube channel called Auto Autopsy, excuse me, shows him installing your intercooler and radiator system in his car. And he then went ahead and took it to the dyno and claimed pretty significant horsepower improvements. And really, that's just one of the YouTube channels that are featuring your products. I found this guy, Autoholic, who did a first impression review, sort of a living room unboxing, comparing your intercooler to the stock intercooler, and he was just very impressed with how the quality came together. And I think that's a pretty significant endorsement of the product when you have people who care that much that they're going to create content for the YouTube channel featuring your product. So congratulations to you guys. Your company is kind of small. Here's the folks who work at your place. Tell us more about your company and what you do.
Well, we started out 11 years ago now. We had 10 years anniversary last year. We started with universal silicon hoses, and from there we have taken on aluminum pipes for manufacturing your own system of any sort, both cooling system and charge air system. And a few years in, we started developing model adapted products, silicon hose kits, intercoolers, radiators, pipe kits, and oil coolers as well. So that's our main business.
And we talk a lot about SAAB projects around here, but you're also manufacturing for lots of other brands.
We do. Over the last years, we have focused much on Porsche and BMW as well. And being Swedes, our roots are, of course, SAAB, but also Volvo. So, yeah, and also Audi and VW as well.
Gotcha. I mentioned it earlier that SAABs are still popular in Sweden, but when it comes to the classic SAABs particularly, tell me about how easy or how expensive they are if you find a good one.
Again, it depends on what model. The 900, for instance, is very sought after. So anytime it shows up on an advert, it's gone in a few days, all of the time. So you don't see them much, and if you do, make sure to appreciate them, because these used to be everyday cars that you saw everywhere, but you don't anymore. So even in Sweden, they are getting rare.
And which model seems to be bringing the most money over there?
Oh, it's the 900. If you ask me, for a favorite, it's the 900, and also the bucks you get for them indicates that as well. Especially the T16, the Aero and the Turbo, you can get big bucks for those, and especially the convertibles, of course.
They made about I think about 50,000 convertibles during the model run, and you can buy a convertible over here for, depending on condition, of course, as little as, well, I bought one for $500, but you can buy them for, a couple grand, and they're pretty decent cars. And so, what would a good one? What would a car like that cost over there?
Well, obviously, it's not that often you see these pristine cars in like new condition, but I've seen cars sold for more than 200,000 Swedish krona, which is way above $20,000. That I believe it's a rare occasion, but you do get them every 1 or 2 years, and the typical condition car is probably like 15,000 to 18,000 US dollars for a convertible.
Wow, that's some big bucks. That's pretty interesting. So I want to bounce back to your car for just a minute and take a look at some of the other work you did. And this photo in particular caught my attention. It takes a lot of guts to take a drill bit to your roof. Tell me what you're doing here.
I bought this car a few years back. It hasn't much mile on the clock. It's in fairly good condition, so I really liked when I got it. But there was one drawback, and that was the fact that it lacked the sunroof. Then a friend of mine had this Skyport laying around, new old stock. So I bought it from him, and then I went for it. No bringing back now.
Yeah, that first drill hole makes you committed. That's right. This is underneath your car. This is a big, heavy steel differential plate on the back of the transmissions. What's its function?
The idea behind it is to make the casing more rigid and sturdy. These gearboxes are prone to fail, and to give that casing a little bit more rigidity is what you want. So this steel cover makes the casing a more solid construction, if you may.
And is that a part that your company makes, or is that something you found off market?
I found this off market. A friend of mine makes them. We don't have this product in our assortment now, but perhaps it's something that we should look into for the future.
Well, might be something that I'd be interested in, that's for sure. So another project you did is something that I'm sure many people may be aware of, and that is change your primary gear types. Now, the non-turbos in the U.S. came with the Type 5 gear set. Is that what yours had?
Mine had the Type 6 from the beginning. This was a low-pressure turbo. Obviously, now I've changed the turbo as well, but it started its life as a low-pressure turbo. With the Type 6 primary gears. I've changed this for a Type 8 to get the legs on it. The idea is to make every gear a little longer, so lower revs on the highway is what I wanted to get, and I did.
How was that job? Was that anything a typical DIY guy like me can handle, or does that require some advanced knowledge and experience?
No, it's quite easy actually. You just raise the engine in the front, remove the cover, and then loosen stuff. Quite easy.
Wow, how about that? So in the U.S., most of the turbos came with the Type 7 gear. The Type 5, if you buy a non-turbo transmission, to do a automatic to manual conversion, you're probably going to wind up with a Type 5, and so you're going to get a little faster acceleration, but you'll be burning more RPMs on the highway speed, right? That's how that works?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Hey, so we've bounced around a lot here, but let me give you open mic time here. Is there something you want people to know about SAABs in Sweden today, and are they revered? Do people ooh and ah over them like they do here in the United States sometimes?
SAAB was a popular brand in Sweden, obviously since it's Swedish. So many people are especially enthusiasts, obviously, saddened that they are gone now. I think it's in Sweden as it is in any country with enthusiasts. So it was a sad day when they went bankrupt, and SAAB, quite contrary to other brands, had this great action to save the brand. Me myself, I participated in this Save SAAB convoy back in 2011. So it witnesses of something that is I don't think that too many brands has these types of enthusiasts.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I would agree with that. Is there a product or something that you're thinking about that might be of interest to SAAB owners, something that's going to be coming up from DO88 in the near future?
Radiator for the old generation 9.3. It will also fit the new generation 900. It will be out later this spring. So we have high hopes for that. It has been a product that many have asked us for over the years. So now we have it.
Excellent. And I've bought my products, my hoses through, I think, eEuro. And I think you've got pretty broad distribution now. You can find those lots of places, right?
Yeah, you can. You can. We have a few dealers stateside and also around Europe and the rest of the world as well.
Well, I want to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us, Isaac. I hope people were interested in learning more about your car in particular. It's beautiful. And the company that you work for, I think it's great to be developing products that make our cars better and keep them all on the road. So thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Lee.
All right, you take care. Next time around here on SAAB Talk Live, we're going to be talking about the Trionic 5 conversion. There's a gentleman named Jordan Pagano who is developing a kit to make it easier to put together the wiring harnesses and a lot of the other stuff that you need to make that happen. Why would you do a Trionic 5? What change does it make in the drivability of your car? How difficult of a job is it to do? We'll talk about all of that the next time around here on SAAB Talk Live. We hope you are with us, and I'll see you then. In the meantime, get out in the garage, get yourself a little dirty.